Welcome to today's Daily Thought as we continue to reflect on the Lord's Prayer. And we're still thinking of this first section of the prayer, which is very much focused on God. We thought yesterday of the God to whom we address our prayers, our Father in heaven, and what a wonderful truth that is. There's a story of a father listening to his little boy as he says his prayers at night before going to bed, and the little boy closes his eyes and begins, "Dear Harold," and the dad interrupts him and asks his son why he's calling God Harold, and his son says, well, that's what they call him at church. You know the prayer that we say, "Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name." And of course the word is not Harold, the word is hallowed. But I wonder if we're any the wiser when we use that word. What does that word mean? What is it we're asking for when we say that part of the prayer? Hallowed be your name. Well, to hallow something, it meant to set it apart, to give it honour. It was special, it was different, it was other. It deserved a special place. And that's what we're asking for God's name. In Jewish thought, a name was not just a label that you gave somebody to identify them and to distinguish them from somebody else. A name was much deeper and much more special than that. A name said something about the nature and the very being of that person. And when we talk about God's name, we're talking about God himself. That's why the third commandment, for example, instructs us, "You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God." Because to misuse the name of God was to disrespect God himself. God's name stands and represents the very being and the very nature of God. And so when we pray, "Hallowed be your name," what we're asking for is that God himself would be seen in all his glory and in all his majesty and given the honour and respect that he is due. And that's a prayer surely we can pray in the day in which we live. Look at the way that God's name is disregarded and disrespected. Look at the way that God himself is barely given a thought. And that's why it's top of the agenda in the Lord's Prayer. It's why it comes first. The first thing that we ask for. Oh God, may your name be hallowed. May you be seen for who you are. Can you imagine a world where God's name is hallowed? Can you imagine our own country where the name of God was hallowed? In the corridors of power, in the political chambers where great decisions are made, great moral decisions are made. How different would it be if God's name were to be hallowed? So let me encourage you to make that a driving force of your prayers. Oh God, may your name be hallowed. How different our nation would look. How will you hallow God's name today, practically, in your life? How will your life be different? The things that you say, the things that you think, the decisions that you make. If you answer your own prayer and you practice what you're asking in your prayers, that God's name, God's character, God's being would be hallowed in your life today. The Lord bless you.